the one we did with you on the flood?
Yeah, we'll talk at dinner as to how to lay out this.
Next week I'm not.
The flood came out today.
You what?
The flood came out today.
Did it? That's good.
Mm-hmm. Gene almost drowned swimming to get here.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite amazing.
We've got about 1 minute left. 1 minute.
Thank you, Juan.
Catfish was drunk on the air.
No. Catfish doesn't drink. That's not possible.
He was like, you need a little...
There was no breathalyzer, so we cannot be...
Nothing can be. Nothing.
He's
can
like,
be
do you need a podcast?
It's one of the reasons that we don't do that. He doesn't drink, so that's not possible.
I'll play it by ear. No, that's good. That's awesome. I appreciate it.
In on the nearest.
I do too.
Yeah, I know that autofocus. You could probably turn that off. 7:30 now.
Whoop, whoop.
Here we go.
You can turn that on. Welcome to Tales, Tunes, and Tomfoolery, starring Jerry Springer, along with Gene Galvin and me. I'm Megan Hills. We're recorded live in front of a brilliant studio audience at the Folk School Coffee Parlor in Ludlow, Kentucky.
My daddy
And
came
here he
home.
is, ladies and gentlemen,
every
Jerry
day
Springer.
from there. Oh, nice crowd. Thank you.
Back at our normal time and place.
I know. And what's nice is both of you clap as well.
Oh, of course. I mean,
Is that in the
I
contract?
It
did
is.
note it at the bottom
Yeah.
of my paycheck what the signature said. You didn't you,
Yeah.
Megan?
I noted that.
I'd be clapping a little harder.
Hey, Sunday,
Yeah.
and these shows come out once a week, our podcast. By the way, was it last week, David Pruce, what did we hit, what number?
150.
150 episodes.
Oh, my.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Nice
cool.
one, guys. That's 150 opinions.
Yeah, it is.
That's right.
A lot of opinions.
Keep them coming, Jerry.
Oh, yeah.
That's the heart of the matter here. Hey, last Sunday, and I want to give some thank yous, actually, and recognize a few people. We had a podcast last Sunday, which will air. I think we're moving this one kind of out of order, right, David? We're going to put an episode in which we announced and showcased the winners of the Cincinnati Musician Activist Talent Search, driven by Noel Stookey of Peter, Paul and Mary. It was phenomenal. Noel Stookey of Peter, Paul and Mary came to Cincinnati, came to the Folk School Coffee Parlor, performed, and he will be on this next episode. And we hear, and he and Jerry sang Blowing in the Wind, and I'm not going to joke about it. It was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool moment.
It was.
It was a lot of fun, but he may never do that again.
Well, it scarred a few people. It may have left a scar.
He did have a pained expression.
I'll have to show you the
when
picture that I
suddenly have a
took.
stomachache?
I got
He
one
looked-
picture
yeah.
that kind of shows that.
It was excellent. And by the way, and thank you to Ann and David Altman, the owners of a wonderful home in a neighborhood called Hyde Park in Cincinnati, and they hosted this party. And there were like, I don't know, 60, 70, 80 people packed into this beautiful Tudor home. And they heard not only Noel Paul sing again, and they did Blowing in the Wind, and they did also ended it with This Land Is Your Land.
That was cool.
And Noel Paul wrote a verse or two, a verse that was pertinent to Cincinnati and the activism here. Because the whole point was, and out of 24 applicants from the greater Cincinnati area, 4 winners were chosen. They were all winners. They were winners at a slightly different level. The grand winner, and let's give recognition to those two, are Casey Campbell and Krystal Peterson. So I wanted to welcome them. And they won because their submission was wonderful. They are, and they're great artists. And Krystal is Krystal Peterson in the Queen City Band, and Casey is a key member of Buffalo Wobbs in the Price Hill Hustle, and a solo artist himself. And they're very competent, very trained people. Their roots are actually in sort of church music, which is an interesting story. But They're now going to work to create a multimedia, which means a documentary. So it'll have music and it will have visuals. They've got a filmmaking partner who's going to shoot video of this, actually in video form, I assume. And it's going to tell the story of the civil rights music of the 60s. That was a tool. Here again, music as a tool for social justice. And they're going to take those songs and merge them with new songs that they're writing and tell that story, because the racial issues of America are not over. We're far beyond where we were in the 1950s and 60s. Everyone would recognize that. But we have so much work still to do. So that's the work they're going to do. And then just to give a nod to the three runners-up, Harpeth Rising, river in Tennessee, the Harpeth River. So their name is Harpeth Rising. And they are incredible. Three young women who are graduates, as I understand it, from Indiana University in classical music. And they created this group, a viola, a clawhammer, banjo, and a fiddle. And they have this beautiful music. And so, at any rate, they're a runner-up. K-Drama, also known as Regis Jones, is one of the, he's a rapper. He's incredible, and his story is amazing. And then finally, the Tillers. And the Tillers are going to work with a thing called Sailor Park Sustains, which is an effort to encourage urban farming, among other things. Mm-hmm. So the night was amazing. We did a podcast, we did a fundraising party, and then we ended it all at this amazing place in Covington called Octave. And we did an after party. This whole thing ended at like midnight. It was quite amazing. So thank you to everybody who was part of that. Ambient Studios got in on this, helping this happen. Panoptic Media, Jim Pruce, David Pruce is with Ambient. And they got a great compliment. Imagine this, if you're sound people and video people, and Noel Stookey comes over, who had that incredible run with Peter, Paul, and Mary and still making money. Making music, and he walks over to these guys and he says, I've been with you for, two of the events. The third, Octave, was done by other sound people, and he says, I know what good sound is, and you guys are really good. And I knew that would be the case, too, because they are our people, and they're
How come my
amazing
mic was turned off, though, during the song?
It's weird how that happened.
Yeah.
That was just a fluke.
As soon as you started singing, I can't grab that gain knob fast enough.
Yeah.
It went down.
It's a little bit of payback, I guess you could call it. You know. So anyway, it was amazing, and thanks to everybody, and thank you to Jerry, because Jerry helped in multiple ways. All kidding aside, helped with emceeing the event at the house party, and it was part of the entertainment package. Yeah. And then helped with some very generous donations to help us meet our goal. We're trying to raise $20,000 to make this happen in Cincinnati.
And very quickly, you put the whole thing together. I mean, honestly, this was your project, your idea, and you've just been working on this behind the scenes. You know, if you would put so much work into the podcast, I'd appreciate it. But anyway, you put the...
It's a fair point. No, he makes a fair point.
Yeah. But
notice I never get defensive.
The one-line email that says, we have a show tonight, that's not a rundown.
No.
Yes.
Mine is it tonight?
Is it on? Are we on for tonight? We're on for tonight.
Yeah. But no, so it was great. The whole thing worked.
Appreciate it.
Nice.
And Liz Sunday wasn't just, actually, to be honest, to put it all together, you couldn't delegate much, and it was Liz Sunday. And that's Noel Stookey's daughter, by the way, a great teammate on this. I want to jump over to you for a second, Jerry. Something we learned at the house party and here. Your singing of "Blowing in the Wind" was quite amazing.
That is a word for it.
It was quite amazing.
It was there.
And I would like to ask this of you, Jerry, and I want to ask it in front of Catfish and Casey, the people who are the key people here at the Folk School Coffee Parlor.
Like, really though?
Now, Catfish, I observe it. There are a number of people who teach on the side. These are starving artists who are trying to get their bills paid every year. And they come in here. Scotty Reisner comes in from Buffalo Wobbs and teaches mandolin. And Hannah teaches ukulele. And it just goes on. Maria teaches guitar. You're busy. would you come in and let people sign up on a sheet and do some voice lessons for people, specifically
Now,
within folk music?
Remember back in the 80s when Nancy Reagan, in response to the drug problems, they just say no?
similar.
Are you saying no to drugs? Oh, you
I have said.
I thought you were going to say that was something that failed. It was meant to do well
Alcohol you could smell, but you don't know with the drugs, do you?
with the drugs.
By the way, we have coming on a little bit Rhyan Sinclair from Lexington, Ohio. She's an amazing singer.
Welcoming back to the program.
Second time. Her second visit to this podcast. Jerry, let me return to that for just a second. Getting you to teach some singing. You say no to everything. We've asked you to run wild with Bear Grylls. No, I'm not doing it. We've asked you to rock climb in the Red River Gorge. No, I'm not doing
Asked him
it.
to crush a rushing river on foot. Wouldn't do it.
Won't do it. Won't come in. He's got Megan. He can come in. He's got a freaking jet. He could come in here and teach him.
They could just
some
drop him
voice
in.
lessons.
Yeah.
They drop him in.
Well, the difference is on those things I say no to is because I could be hurt. When I teach other people to sing, they could be hurt.
Very responsible of you. It's very
So
responsible.
I'm just thinking of other people.
It's really-
Why couldn't we just? I don't want to beat this to death. But let me just ask. Why couldn't we have one time, a half hour, and we could put this up on the window, and I bet we look at Casey.
What a
back there
great
going
reality
right on. She's
show.
saying right on.
Me teaching
one time,
people.
a half hour lesson. The goal, Casey.
Okay.
One time. Yeah.
Limited
Hey, Casey,
time
for sure.
engagement.
One time only.
So,
but why
Gene,
couldn't
what-
the goal be in 1/2 hour, Megan, that everybody leaves here able to sing "Blowing in the Wind"
I
one
don't know
song
that
as
he's
well as he
capable
can?
of that.
When I just thought of it.
Oh, no.
No, when
He's going to do it.
No, I'm not.
He's going to do it.
Rest easier. No, when I did the musical Chicago.
Yes, I
on-
saw it.
on Broadway.
I saw it on Broadway
Okay,
with my
but when
first wife, Bonnie. We were there, yeah.
But in the rehearsals for it.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Yeah, the rehearsals for it, they literally gave me an instructor
Really?
to sing, and I had to, obviously I didn't know how to sing, so you had to. They give you scales to do, like in the shower.
Yeah.
And
It's an instrument. Your
and
voice
you
is
go
an
around
instrument.
all day, and you have to sing from down here. I didn't know that.
Diaphragmatic breathing. It's crazy.
Oh, big words like that. Yeah. That's what it was. I
Holy
never
cow.
quite got that.
You thought that was like
And
a
there was a
birth
lot-
And
control
how long were
device
you
or
on
something.
Broadway, Jerry?
Well,
That's right, you did. You played Billy Flynn in Chicago, didn't you?
Yeah,
That's
that
such a
was-
cool thing.
that was it was exciting, but I'll never do it again.
Well, all right. I tried, Casey. Sorry.
But sign up, Gene. Why don't
I
you
would
be
take
my
the
first
class.
student?
Are you kidding me? I would take the class. You're going to do it. He's going to do it.
We put it up already.
It's already
Singing in the key of D with
Jerry Springer.
Blowing in the wind. Gotta just say blowing in the wind.
Blowing in the wind.
That's all we're doing.
I can sing
Blowing
anything
in the
in
wind.
D that has just 3 chords.
a master class.
Oh, yeah. Now,
not
they're
legs.
probably not hearing this because they're in the back of the room, but Casey Campbell just said, and I love it, blowing in the wind, comma, the master class. It's a master class. All right. Let me ask you a question, Jerry.
I tell you,
There's
Gene.
no way to stop me.
On another topic, unrelated.
Yes.
When you come into Cincinnati, and it happened Sunday, and I saw it, Megan, and maybe you saw it.
I think I know where you're going with this, and I think I know exactly what. Yeah.
When
Yep.
he comes to Cincinnati and gets a rental car,
Yeah.
he had Sunday. It was a Toyota Camry. It
sure was.
That's what it was.
I didn't recognize it. Is that what it was?
It was it was a Toyota Camry.
Okay,
I mean, he's driving it because listen.
I took
I'm gonna admit
driving
it.
lessons. I
Yeah, no, I know. You have a
In
license.
college.
Wait a second. Do you have a license?
Do you have a license?
Would you take out your license and show it to us? Are you willing? Would you take out your license and show it to us?
I
I don't mean to be
think I
disrespectful,
do,
but
he
I mean,
No, when I showed up to vote, they
he has a
wanted it.
George Costanza wallet. Look at that.
He does.
Megan.
He's got
It's
all
about
the
that
coupons
big.
in it.
That big sticking out.
I have a receipt from 17 years ago. I might need it one day.
Oh, what are all these?
Oh
things?
my
Oh,
God.
look at this.
I'm sorry.
So anyway, he's parked
Those are
right
centuries.
out front. If
You got a
anyone would
bunch
like
of
to run catch
centuries
up
here.
with Jerry afterwards. Who wants to catch up with Jerry after the podcast?
My grandson's learning the wrong thing. No, I swear to God, he said to me.
So you do have one.
Hey.
He
Hey.
said,
Hey, no.
He said, "Can I have some Franklins?"
Oh, for the love.
I said, "How
They
do
say
you know
Franklin's,
that?"
not Benjamins anymore? That's crazy. It's all changed. These kids these days.
All right, let's see if he has. Let's see if the date is right.
Oh, that's right. He says Benjamin.
That's a Florida driver's license. He's legal. Jerry Springer's
is.
legal. All right. What is it like? No, serious question. What's it like to drive just a normal car like Megan and I drive for real? We have those cars.
Like a normal human
a normal car. But do you?
Non-Bentley.
I admire
It
you,
was-
by the way, that you do that. You come in, you get a rental car, and you get a rental car. You don't like ask for the whatever.
Well, I did, but they didn't have
No,
it.
I see.
Turns out in the Cincinnati airport, can't rent a Bentley. They
No.
can't, that
Well, that's what I
Hertz
was
is not
thinking.
giving
No
out a
Bentleys,
Bentley.
no Maseratis. What is that
What is
about?
it?
Yeah.
No, but I drove, and it's you got to pay attention when you drive.
Yeah, you do. No, seriously, Jerry followed
No, in the
me.
limo, you just take a nap in the back.
Yeah.
Get on your phone, talk to
And
yeah.
you know you're there because someone opens the door for you.
He fo-
Again, the troubles, trials, and tribulations
You
of Jerry
think
Springer's
it's-
life.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
you
he
think you were
followed. He
burdened.
followed all of us. We did kind of a caravan down from. Well,
I
from
saw
the
him trying
podcast
to
over
park up in Hyde Park. That was cute.
there. That was
That was a little difficult. And now they have a screen where you can see what's behind you.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, have you not? You've never had. Never mind.
Here is a question, and everybody here can relate to this. We all have GPSs on our phones.
Yeah.
You use it all the time. I mean, I have one in my car. You may have
use-
one in your car.
yeah, I use this all the time.
It's the phone.
Yep.
And if mine's Android and I just hit the OK Google thing and I say navigate to,
Mm-hmm.
and I put in an address and it takes me there. Serious question. Do you know how to do? Let's see, he pulled. You can't see this, but he pulls out a flip phone. That does not hit.
Hyde Park.
No response from a flip phone, a 1984 flip phone. No, do you know how to use, because you do carry an iPhone too that you use for other purposes. Do you use the GPS on it or not? Serious question. I suspect the answer is no. Do you?
Sometimes we do.
Are you
I
still-
mean,
You're still printing out trip
Mickey
ticks,
and
aren't you?
I.
Yeah, trip
You're-
text from AAA.
Yep. I
no,
know
if-
that you
if
are.
we have direction, yeah, that's right. And it lists out not the talking part.
You don't do that.
No, because it's another woman telling you what to do.
Oh my God, here we go.
Actually, mine is Stephen Colbert.
1980.
I mean, how many? You know?
You can change the voices. Mine had Stephen
Yeah.
Colbert on it for a while. I loved
Had
it.
who?
Stephen Colbert did Waze for a
Really?
while. It was great.
Because I was thinking of coming up with an app where you'd have like
There's one that
really
does, like-
some rough talk.
Well,
Like,
there's
you
one that has
don't-
you can do boy bands that sing you the directions. Stephen
Okay, I
Colbert
didn't
did
know
it for.
that.
Oh
So there
yeah,
is such an app,
It's
and-
sorry, Gene.
Yeah.
And there goes
I was
that
looking-
$1 million idea.
Yeah, that's why I'm still sitting here. Anyway.
It was funny to see you pull up in a Camry. It really was.
Yeah, I mean, it's just normal. Actually, to be all kidding aside, Jerry Springer is a good guy, and he's very down to earth.
He really is.
He's very down to earth. So,
Except for when he gets
now, so that doesn't surprise me at all that he pulls up in that. Jerry,
Yes.
straight up question: is Donald Trump dangerous?
Yeah. And that's it for tonight, folks.
excellent show, Jer.
Thanks for coming by.
It's just like Gene's rundown.
Yeah, and it gets worse. It gets worse every day. We can't keep up. You know, one of the negatives with the podcast is that by the time it gets broadcast, this is even true with daily news. By the time it goes to print or on the computer or whatever, it's something else has happened. So it's happening so fast. The whole White House is collapsing. I mean, you know, it's like a fire sale. Everyone's running out of there as quickly as they can get out. The bigger question is, why the heck did they sign up to work for him in the first place? But anyway, is he dangerous? Yes. And there are a bunch of reasons, not the least of which is I believe, and this is not an overstatement, I believe he is a serious threat to democracy. This last week, he spoke at a Republican fundraiser, and someone had taped his talk. And it was right after Xi Jinping, the leader of China, had changed the rules and decided that he could be emperor for life. In other words, there's no more voting. He's going to stay, as long as he's alive, he's going to stay the head of China, remembering that 1 out of every 4 or 5 people on the planet Earth is Chinese. So that's really pretty significant. A major dictator. So Trump was commenting on that and praising him. Not that 1/4 of the earth is suddenly going to clearly be under a dictator now, no more vote, even if the vote was, suspect in China. Now they're blatantly saying, I'm the leader for life. And Trump praises the guy. Now there's a strong leader. And he said, and I'm quoting, "Isn't that great? Maybe we should try it here. President for life." Now, in fairness, he said that as a joke, but as you know, when you tell a joke, there's some part of it in your subconscious that is the truth. And if someone would hand him a piece of paper and say, you know what, we've been thinking, you can be our president for as long as you live, he would sign it. He wouldn't do what George Washington did, a legitimate president, a legitimate hero, and say, no, 2 terms is enough. We don't want to have a king here, and I'm not going to serve any longer. It's the latest example of his lack of respect for democracy. He loves authoritarian rulers, whether it's this Xi Jinping of China, whether it's Putin, whether it's the head of Turkey, the Philippines. His constant chipping away at democracy, letting our elections be tampered with, and not wanting to pursue the investigations into it. That didn't seem to bother him. His undercutting the legitimacy of our courts and our judicial system, criminalizing opponents, lock her up, flaunting the law, believing that he's above the law, that it shouldn't apply to him or his family. Now, perhaps at some level, it's because he can't really support democracy, because if we really had full democracy here in America, he wouldn't be president. I mean, he lives with this notion that he got beaten by Hillary by 3 million votes. And then even the Electoral College now, which is hardly democratic to begin with, the way it was originally set up, but even that now is called into question with the influence that the Russians had on the election in those states, which made the difference of him becoming president, even though he got 3 million less votes than Hillary. So he can't, democracy is not something that has given him power. That is not something that has met any of his needs. And how serious is this? Look what's going on in the world. More and more democratic societies, such as in Europe, are sliding towards a kind of authoritarianism. The right wing is gaining strength in a whole bunch of countries in Europe that historically, at least for the last half century, have been democratic. And America, whenever this happens, has been the world's, in Lincoln's words, last best hope of democracy. Throughout history, since America's been around, whenever we had dictatorships rising up, tyrannies rising up, America has been the one bulwark against totalitarian governments. So American lives were sacrificed to take on a Hitler, to take on a Mussolini, to take on Japan, and then to take on communism for 50 years. We were the democracy against totalitarian governments around the world. That's who we are. But now democracy is on the ropes in these other countries. And it's important to see what's happening there and what's happening in our country. Virtually every country in the world, but other country in the world, but let's say the countries of Europe, they are countries, they became countries because what makes them a country is virtually, there's few exceptions in the numbers, but generally 90% of the people of each of these European countries are of the same race, the same religion, the same ethnicity. They have the same ancestry. So the French have been French for hundreds of years. And they're all alike in terms of those categories. And the same with the Spanish, and the same with the Germans. In other words, so what is happening now that you have this mass migration taking place in the world because of the trouble in the Middle East and also Africa, that there's a great migration, people trying to escape the horrors of where they are. As they go through Europe, these countries now feel their very basis is being attacked because they've always been a monolithic society of the same race, the same religion, the same ethnicity, and suddenly all these other people are coming in. So that really does change what that country is. And that's why you're getting this protest and why you get the right wing suddenly having a constituency, because the people that have been in these countries say, hey, we don't want to change. That is what has defined those countries. And now come across the Atlantic and you come to America. As I've said on other occasions, the only thing which makes us a country is an idea. You see, we don't have a common ancestry. We Americans don't have a common race. We don't have a common religion. We don't have a common ancestry where our parents are from. All our parents and grandparents and great-grandparents came from different places. So what defines a country doesn't define America. What makes us a country, and why young men and women have fought and died for this country, is the idea America. That's all we have. That's all we have. That's what makes us American. Nothing else. So when we suddenly, for the first time in our history, have a president who disrespects and wants to tear down this idea America, and the idea America is that we would be the one place on earth where it wouldn't matter what your religion was, what your ethnicity was, where your parents were from. As articulated in the Declaration of Independence, the ideal was that we'd eventually wouldn't even matter which race you were, that this was a place on earth that people could come to be free, pursue their dreams, and be the best they can be. That's America. It's the only thing which makes us a country. So if you oppose that idea, if you're against the concept of a multicultural America, if you're against the principles in the Declaration of Independence, if you oppose the principles of the Constitution of a government that has a separation of powers, of the Bill of Rights, if you oppose the idea of a judicial system, of an independent judicial system, if you are against this idea, you are against the only thing that makes us a country. And that is the threat to America. This is not about partisanship. That's a cop-out. The people that are supporting Trump and are trying to have a moral equivalence by saying, well, you know, it's politics, he's done some bad things, Democrat. This isn't about partisanship. It's about patriotism. You don't make America great again by being against the idea America. This movement to stop, this is why we fight. This is why we resist. This anti-Trump movement is not partisanship, it's patriotism. There is right now, having nothing to do with political party, there's a threat against the idea America. And every day there's new evidence to it. And look what's going on in Europe. And look what happened to us in the 1930s on this planet. I'm telling you, we better wake up. This isn't politics as usual. You care about this country, you make sure that someone like Trump is not president of the United States.
Thank you, Jerry. And as Jene mentioned earlier in the show, this evening we have with us for the second time Rhyan Sinclair. Rhyan, if you want to go ahead and come on up and get ready. Rhyan is joining us from Lexington, Kentucky. And she's actually, when she gets up here, she's one of the younger performers that we have had on the show. Last time she was on, we got to speak with her and her mom. So, how you doing, Rhyan?
And how old are you, Ryan?
17.
Can we see your driver's license?
We ID at the door now.
And her mom is an accompanist.
And her mom is an accompanist, yeah. Welcome back, both
Part of
you.
her band.
Nice to see you again.
You too.
So what have you been up to since the last time we saw you, Ryan?
Oh, just recording an album.
Recording it, just going to school, recording an album. No big deal.
Ryan, do you go to school or are you homeschooled?
I'm homeschooled.
You're
You're
homeschooled.
homeschooled,
I
okay.
wondered.
So you're busy. Got stuff going on. So when is this album going to be coming out? Do you know?
I believe in June.
In June of this year?
Yes.
Very cool. Well, the first song that you have for us this evening is called Barnstormer. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. Well, why don't you take it away, and then we'll talk a little bit after this first song.
All right. Always running around these old ghost towns with nothing but the wind to carry me. Oh, nothing can stop my wheels from turning. I'm destined to be wandering free. Barnstormer, barnstormer, a cold-hearted, hard-headed wanderer, or at least that's what they say. Every time I'm walking away. Ooh, 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 ooh. My spirit is lined with wide fences and pines. These winding roads run through my mind. Oh, you might see me as a drifter, but I'm not as lost as you might find. Barnstormer, barnstormer, a cold-hearted, hard-headed wanderer, or at least that's what they say. Every time I'm walking away. Ooh, 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 ooh. I was born with a compass soul, driven by my motor heart. You'll never see me counting miles or just wishing on a star. I'll be going till I'm gone, till I'm gone, till I'm gone. Going till I'm gone, till I'm gone, till I'm gone. Ooh, 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 ooh. Barnstormer, barnstormer, a cold-hearted, hard-headed wanderer. Barnstormer, barnstormer, oh, a cold-hearted, hard-headed wanderer, or at least that's what they say. Oh, every time I'm walking away. Ooh, 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 ooh. till I'm gone, till I'm gone, till I'm gone.
Thank you. So I have on here that you write most of your music as well, correct?
Yes.
So where do you, as a 17-year-old, get inspiration for a song like that? It's it's beautifully written.
Thank you. I don't know, just life.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not quite sure.
It just seems so much older. It seems like it's coming from such a more mature place than you would expect a 17-year-old to be able to. It's really beautiful.
Well, thank
really,
you.
really beautiful. Now, who else is up here with you? We've met your mom before. If you would reintroduce her.
Yes, that's Tony Karpinski. And that's Brandon Boger on shaker and
Yep.
also fiddle. And that's Jeff Bender on bass.
Excellent. It's great to have you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Ryan,
Now, none of you have taken your singing lessons from me, right? You're not in my class.
Obviously.
They're on pitch.
Aha.
Good one, David.
Yeah, good luck on your next job.
Hey, Ryan, when you do this and you've got your mom to your right as we're looking at you, and by the way, she is very good. She is a very good singer all by herself. And did your mom perform? I should ask her, but did you perform before Ryan started to perform on your own?
Just all my life, you know, in school, church, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And then Ryan started really early. That's my mom right there, and she started
Wow, in the
singing
audience, she has her
the
mom.
three of us in church a lot. So
Wow, three generations
really
singing
cool.
there. That's wonderful. And the dynamics of just making this work, Ryan, making the band work. Do you? And serious question: do you run the band? Is it your
Vision.
vision and your power that says, "Hey, we're going to do this way," and call out people if they make mistakes, etc. Typical of what bands do.
Well, I guess so.
We got Brendan back had a little bit of opinion on that. He's going, yes, sir. But that's, again, like, that's so beyond, I mean, 17 years old and being
I
able
admire the heck out of
Heck
that.
yeah, man. That's really cool. Very, very cool. Oh, what's your next song for us tonight?
This one's called The Hourglass.
The Hourglass. All right. Oh, as she's getting tuned up there, you can check out ryansinclair.com, and that's RHYAN, Sinclair.com. Check out more of her music.
Am I more than the hourglass? Sand running out, sand falling fast. Slipping through my fingers away to the past. Spend my time trying to make it last. Am I more than the hourglass? So much pressure on a second that it crumbles away. 5-minute conversation, think about it for days. I tend to wonder why I say the things I say. Just stare at the clock, wasting time away. Am I more than the hourglass? Sand running out, sand falling fast. Slipping through my fingers away to the past. Spend my time trying to make it last. Am I more than the hourglass? The hours are long, but the days are short. We count the minutes, then we beg for more. We kill time and wonder why it dies. Guess it's in our nature to deny. Am I more than the hourglass? Sand running out, sand falling fast. Am I more than the hourglass? How can I make the most of these seconds that I've been handed before I plain run out? Do you ever look around and just wonder why we follow the pattern, walk the narrow line? When we look back, what will we see? Only a shadow of who we wished we could be. If I pave a road on the map, if I leave a light on the path, if I never let go of the love I have, oh, am I more than the hourglass?
Now, we talked this whole weekend. I'm sure you heard us talking, Ryan. We, got to meet Noel Stookey and talk about the next generation and all the, passing on this. It's
amazing, isn't it?
It's so cool,
It
to have
is.
this follow it up on
amazing.
Tuesday. Very,
Wonderful.
very cool. So,
Again,
who were some of your influences?
Yeah.
Sorry, Jane. I
No,
want to
no,
know
yeah, I wondered
who
that.
are you listening to?
Well, Dolly Parton and Emmylou Harris
Yeah.
and Linda Ronstadt, that whole trio.
Wow.
I mean,
individually and together. And gosh, so many more. I can't even.
And is that your mom's influence and your grandmother's influence, just from being? She said you guys were in church and things like that. Is that where that came from?
I guess so.
Yeah. Well, the way you put it together is absolutely beautiful. It really is. That's a very moving song. And your album is going to be called I'm sorry, I'm going to read it right, The Barnstormer, and that's coming out in spring or summer of this year, correct?
Yes.
Well, we really look forward to that.
Hey,
we
Ryan,
really do.
one other quick question. Do you know Erin Coburn by any chance?
I don't.
Okay, so she is a performer from Kentucky, the northern Kentucky area.
I think she's
And
15.
does a lot of blues. She's 16. She's been on our podcast a couple times.
Very cool.
She's homeschooled. You're homeschooled. Do you do homeschooling because it gives you obviously all this flexibility to chase your art and travel, etc.?
Yes, I would say so. Yeah.
Okay. And when were you last in formal schooling? Was it last year or the year before? Has it been
Kindergarten.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you were homeschooled all through grade school as
Very
well
cool.
then?
Yes.
Okay. That's
Awesome.
interesting.
Well, we look forward to that album, and we're going to ask for you to sing with Jerry.
Oh,
Down by
man.
the riverside.
Yeah, this is a reason to close down the homeschool.
I know.
Yeah.
No,
You poor thing.
he's
Yeah, I apologize.
He's
ahead of
riding
time.
high
You
after this
should not.
weekend. He had such a nice time singing with Noel Paul, so we'll hope he doesn't ruin it for you.
Yeah. We're going to put a list here that people whose careers just
One by one, ticking them off. But again, please go to RhyanSinclair.com. That's RHYAN Sinclair.com and check her music out. And thanks for being back with us again, and take us on out down by the riverside.
I'm gonna lay down my heavy load down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay down my heavy load down by the riverside. Ain't gonna study war no more. 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 Ain't gonna study
down my sword and shield down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I ain't gonna study war no more, ain't gonna study war no more, ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more, ain't gonna study war no more, ain't gonna study war no more. Yeah. All right. You all come back now, you hear? Woo. Woo. You guys did a great job.
Let's have it one more time, Rhyan Sinclair. All right. Real quick, a little housekeeping here. We will not be here next week. We are taking next week, March 13 off. So we will see you here March 20. That's Tuesday, March 20, 2 weeks from tonight. We'll have back for our second time Justin Lynch, local graphic artist and ex-punk rocker. And, he'll be doing our thing, and we'll be on for a couple weeks after that. All right. So March 20, we'll see you here. Take next week off. Check us out online. All right.
Thank you, Casey.